Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have completed our first chapter on phonetics and phonology. Now here we are going to an important part of our this semester's syllabus, which is pronunciation. Here in this chapter we will learn 44 sounds of English language, 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds. In previous class, we already learned about phonemes and syllables. So, as we remember, phonemes are the smallest bit of sound in English language, and that smallest sound can bring some changes in the meaning, as you can see in the given example of pen, ten, hen, men. So, there the difference in the sound of p, t, h, m brought some great difference in the meaning of that words. And also we learned that syllables can be made out of one or more phonemes, and every syllable has a nucleus. A nucleus of a syllable is a sound which is more prominent than rest of sounds, and that nucleus sound mostly will a vowel sound, as you can see in the word straight. So there is a sound of s and a sound of tr and a sound of e and lastly the sound of t, but here the nucleus is e because you can hear very clearly street. So street is a one syllable word and the nucleus of that syllable is E, which is a vowel. There are two different systems used in English teaching of pronunciation. First one is received pronunciation of England, which is standard pronunciation style of England, and we indicate towards this pronunciation style by using an abbreviation of RP, which is a short form of received pronunciation. So the important difference between RP or received pronunciation and other pronunciation is the consonant sound of R is used only before vowel sounds in RP or received pronunciation. So, in received pronunciation, they will never use consonant sounds of R after a vowel. Here, you can see the letter R is inside forwarding slashes. So, these forwarding slashes is used to indicate the sound of that letter, not the writing style of that letter. So, if you want to understand the difference between the received pronunciation and other pronunciation, you can look to the examples given below. Here, born, voice, serve, modern. These are four examples. In this example, if it is pronounced in received pronunciation or in RP, you will never hear the sound of R, because here R came after the vowel sound. In RP, there isn't any sound of R after a vowel. So they will pronounce those words as born, voice, serve, modern without the pronunciation of R. But in other pronunciation style, they will use sound of R even after the vowels. So they can read that word as born, voice, serve, modern with a sound of R. The other pronunciation system uses R in all positions. So this system can manage with fewer vowel sounds. In short, we can say in received pronunciation we need for more vowel sounds, as they don't use the sound of R after a vowel. But in other pronunciation system, they can manage with fewer sounds. And for example, you can see the word short and short. So in received pronunciation, they have to use different vowel sounds for these two different words. But in other pronunciation system, they can pronounce these two words without using any extra vowels. So they will pronounce that first one short without the sound of R, and the second one short with a sound of R. But in RP they can't use the sound of R after a vowel, so they use a extra vowel for that sound. So we have completed our introduction for pronunciation, and we learned the small difference between RP received pronunciation and other pronunciation. Now we can go to the sounds of English language. So there are 20 vowel sounds, and these 20 vowel sounds are divided into two. 12 out of 20 are known as poor vowels or monophthongs, and the speciality of these poor vowels is these sounds do not change in quality, like calm. So you can hear the sound of A after Ka. So we never change that sound of A in that example. And the 8 out of 20 is known as diphthongs, which are vowels in which there is a slight change from one sound to another. And in Indian English we use only 6 diphthongs, but in this syllabus we mostly focus on RP, which is received pronunciation of England. That's why we will learn 8 diphthongs. We will learn the clear difference between diphthongs and monophthongs when we learn sounds of vowels in coming classes. But as an example, you can look to the word claim. There is a vowel sound after L and before M. So there is a small change from A to E, and when we join this A, E, it became claim. So these are diphthong. There will be a change from one sound to another sound. And another important thing you have to learn before going to next class are some symbols which we mostly use in coming classes. First one that we already discussed, 2 forwarding slashes and some letters between that slashes. So it is used to denote sound of a word or a letter. And another one is a colon, which used as a symbol for length, like a mud in Arabic language. So if you put that colon after a sound, it mostly used after a vowel sound. It means we have to prolong the pronunciation of that letter. For example, the word calm, if you write that letter as we pronounce, you can see there between 2 slashes. So after the sound of A, you can see that colon, and it means we have to prolong our pronunciation of A. Then we will pronounce that word as calm. So we prolonged our pronunciation of A and it became A. And another important thing is when we write diphthongs, we mostly use 2 letters to indicate there is a change from one sound to another. So here you can see an example which is aim. There is a sound of A, E in the beginning, which is the sound of A, I, and that diphthong is written as E, I. In coming class, we will learn about diphthongs, monophthongs, and after that we will go to consonant sounds. Assalamu alaikum.